In this video, you'll be getting a step-to-step tutorial of how I came about this beautiful shirt making, and if that's something that interests you, please keep on watching. Hi, my name is Lovett, and if this is your first time here, please do not make it your last. Hit on the subscribe button and be part of this family. So the first thing now we are going to do, we are going to fold our fabric into two. Just look at what I'm doing. You fold your fabric into two, so you mark out your starting point. This is my starting point. So what we need is our gown length, our hip measurement, and our shoulder measurement. My gown length is 38, my hip is 40, and my shoulder is 16 inches. Place your tape from your starting point, then you mark out your gown length. My gown length is 38, so I mark 38, then plus 2 inches allowance for folding. So we are going to come out by 3 inches. Look at what I am doing. You mark 3 inches from the beginning of that fabric all the way to your gown length, then you connect them like so. This is for button allowance. So from that part now, you mark your half length. Our half length is 16. I've gone ahead to mark it. So we are going to mark our shoulder. Shoulder divide by 2. You start from that line. You're not starting, just look at where I'm placing my tape. You start from that line, divide your shoulder by 2. What you have, you mark it. So from the shoulder, you measure your sleeve length. You measure how long you want the sleeve to be. So the next thing now is to measure our neck depth. I'm using 3 inches for my neck depth. So you connect it together as you see me do. Then you come down from your shoulder measurements by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. Then from that slope, you mark your round sleeve measurement. I'm marking my round sleeve measurement. Make sure it's free. So divide your hip measurement by 4 plus 3.5 inches. Then you mark what you have. Come to the down part, do the same thing. Divide your hip measurement by 4. You plus 3.5 or 4 inches, depending on how free you want it to be. Then the next thing is to connect the armhole. Look at what I am doing and you'll be able to do yours. Connect it to meet the hip measurement that you've measured, and take your line down. Connect it down like that. So this is what we have, but I don't want mine to be straight, so I'm going to give it a little curve. You can do yours straight, you can curve it like mine, anyone that suits you better. So the next thing now is to curve our armhole. You don't expect it to be that sharp, so you curve it at least 1.5, and then you cut it out. Just watch the part that I'm cutting out. So that's all for the front. So we are going to use our pressing iron to press down that 3 inches. Remember the 3 inches that we brought out for our flap and button allowance. So I've gone ahead to press it down. This is what I have. So now I want to cut the back. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two. Always remember to fold your fabric into two. Then I'll place the front on it, but I'm not placing it directly on it. I'll come out a bit by 1 inch. That's for our button allowance. Look at what I am doing. I came out a bit by 1 inch. Then you trace it out and cut out exactly how the front is. So now the next thing is to cut our neckline. I'm using 2.5 inches for width and 3 inches for depth. I'm cutting out just the front part. Look at what I am doing. Then you cut it out. After cutting it out, you notch it. Look at the part that I'm notching. You notch the center. Then you do the same thing for the down part, so as to know where your 3 inches starts. So the next thing now is to cut our neck depth. I'm using 1 inches for the neck depth. Then you cut it out. So that is all. So now where is you either you weave or you sew that front part. So look, I've sewn that front part. Look at what we have. You can weave it or you sew it. So the next thing now is to sew our neck. Look how, just pay close attention to what I am doing. I fold the neck like so. Look, that part that we notch, you start from that part that we notch. You measure 1.5 inch. You measure 1.5 inch. You will sew round to meet that 1.5 inch. Just take a closer look at what I am doing, then you understand it. See, I've sewn my 1.5 to meet that 1.5 inch. Then I'll cut it. I'll notch it. Don't notch it more than where you sew. Just notch it. Then you notch the center and then you turn it. So that is how we get our cam collar. You do the same thing to the other side. Do exactly the same thing that I did to the other side. Then you move to your sewing table and iron. Place hemming gum inside that that camp collar to give it a firm look, then you iron it. So the next thing now is to join our shoulder, right side facing right side, then you join the shoulder. Just watch what I am doing. Join the shoulder. After that, you do the same thing to the other shoulder. Do the same thing to the other shoulder, right side facing right side, and you join them together. And that is all for the shoulder. Take your clothes to your sewing table, then you arrange it properly. Then from the shoulder, you measure to your half length. We want to get pockets, where to place our pockets. So for your shoulder to your half length, but I'm using my half length is 16, but I'm using 17. I want my pocket to be down a bit. So from that 17, you mark 7 inches. That's your pocket wideness, 7 inches. You notch from the 17 you measured, then notch the 7 inches that you measured. You do the same thing to the other side. So the next thing now, we'll cut our pockets. Fold your material into 4 so that we can get 2 sides of the pocket. From the pocket line, you slant it like so, and you measure 8 inches. Remember, the opening that we left was 7 inches, so the 8 inches is for joining allowance. Then you curve it like how I'm doing. Just look at what I'm doing and you'll be able to do yours. Slant it by 8 inches, then you notch. So now we are joining the fabric. You join with half inches to meet that half length that you mark, remember. Then after that, you move it to the 7 inches that you mark, then you sew it. There should be opening between that half length and the 7 inches. So now we want to join our pocket. You bring the center of the pocket and you notch it at that half length. Then you sew it directly to meet that 7 inches that you measure. Just look at what I'm doing. You just sew it and meet that 7 inches part that you started shaping from. Just sew it like that and meet the 7 inches. Remember, we cut it 8 inches, so there will be an allowance of 1 inches for you to join the pocket together. Just watch what I'm doing and you'll be able to do yours. So now you join the other side like this as well, and you sew it together. Watch what I am doing and you'll be able to do yours. So after sewing it to meet that half length, you notch and you close. See that 1 inches that was remaining, you use it to close the pocket. Just watch what I am doing. Use that 1 inches to close the pocket, and that is all for the pocket. So now I've gone ahead to fold the down part. Remember, we added 2 inches for the down part, so that 2 inches you're going to fold it inside. So next thing now is to join our collar. The collar, you're going to measure what you have for your neck. I have 13 inches for my neck, so that's what I'm going to use. This is my gum stay. You bring your gum stay, then you mark a straight line. So we want to get that 13 inches now, so you mark another line again, the vertical line, so that you mark 3 inches wideness, 3 inches wideness, then 13 inches long. Watch what I am doing. 3 inches wideness, 13 inches long. Then you connect the whole line together. Connect the whole line together. Watch what I am doing. I'm going to connect the whole line together. That is to get our collar. We want to cut our collar right now. So after doing that, you cut it out. Cut it neatly. Don't rush. Take your time and you cut it out. So this is what we have after cutting it out. You fold it into 2. Watch closely what I'm doing. Then you come in by 2.5, and then you go up by 1/2 and quarter. It's not up to 1 inches, 1/2 and quarter. Then you connect it like so. Watch what I'm doing. I'm connecting it to meet that 2.5. Then you're going to connect it like so. Then you cut it out. Watch what I'm doing. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section and I'll be glad to answer you. So after that, we are going to gum this gum stay to our fabric. Bring your fabric and place the gum stay on it, leaving a distance of half inches. So I'm going to use my pressing iron to press it down. I've gone ahead to press it down, and this is what we have. So I'm going to cut it out right now. Watch what I am doing. I'm cutting it out, leaving a distance of half inch all around it. So I'm going to fold it like so and give it another press and cut it out. So this is what we have. I'm going to press it down. Just watch what I am doing. So the next thing now is to fold one side that has that gum stay. You fold it inward like so, and you go to your sewing machine and sew it. I've gone ahead to sew mine. This is what we have. I've sewn it round, and I sewed the both side as well. Then next thing now is to turn it out. I've turned it out and I ironed the other side. So the next thing now is to join our collar. Watch what I'm doing. You join the collar together. I've gone ahead to join the collar together. Then you fold it inward and you sew on top. You top stitch. Watch what I am doing. I've top stitch on it, and that is all we have. That is all, guys. The tutorial is almost done. So you bring it to your sewing table. Then from the cam collar you measure 7, depending on how deep you want it to be. Then you give it a good press. Give the whole fabric a good press, and you make the starting point from where your cam collar stop to 4.5 or 5 inches, depending on how wide you want the button to be. I'm using 4.5, and I think you should use 4.5 as well. So 4.5 gap, you mark it all the way down to your gown length. After that, you fix your button hole, and then you fix your button, and that is all. And this is the final result. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and comment on my video. See you in my next video. Bye.